I must shut down the den. I say that every time. You would think I would learn, but I never learn. I never do learn. Okay, wow. So funny to see this many people. I hope you guys can't hear my neighbor. Hold on, I gotta pin myself. You don't have to mute yourself. If you have a question, feel free to come off of mute. See my very nice mosquito bite. We have a couple people joining late, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. Everybody take the next minute or two to find something like a block and like a strap. I say like a because it doesn't have to be perfect. Here's an example. This is a pillow. It compresses. It's not the softest pillow ever. It can get bunched up and deformed. There's a blanket here. It would also suffice, a blanket would suffice as a strap and as a block. A band can be a strap. A book can be a block. Cats are generally unwilling participants. Dogs, however, can be good blocks. Okay, I'm gonna angle this down and then we're gonna get started. While I'm sitting in the next, let's say, 30 seconds or so, if anybody has any requests for body parts that need to get stretched, for me, it's everything. So I'm willing to accommodate requests. Cool. If you change your mind or want to speak at any time, just come off of mute and speak, it's fine. We're not
hamstrings and lower back, please.
Hamstrings and lower back. Cool. Okay, go ahead and we'll start kneeling for the quads. All right, and normally in my life, this is not enough to give me a stretch. But after leg day yesterday and rucking today, etc., I feel a little gentle stretch here. So go ahead and set up kneeling. Now you have a block. So if your knees or your ankles don't want to accommodate a deep kneel, you can sit on your prop. I want you to be aware of what's happening in your ankles because a lot of people get into it and their ankles do this sickle shake here, which puts the brunt of the stretch in the ligaments on the outside of the ankle, and you don't want that. You want a nice straight line. You want to take your heels and suck them in toward each other so that the inner heel is touching, and then we'll just chill like that for a second. In fact, we'll chill like that for about 5 breaths. This is where you get to do your like inner work, set up an intention for your practice, notice how your breath is landing in your body. If you're uncomfortable in the shape, this is where you very immediately get to handshake with that discomfort and say, well, that's interesting, but you're not exactly pain, so I can sit with it for a little bit longer. And now we're going to shift the ankle position and do a stretch where almost everyone, not everyone, but almost everyone will begin to feel discomfort. So what you're going to do is you're going to spread your toes very wide, right? Put a good splay in between all of your toes with the full instep of your foot together, and try not to collapse any of your toes. And then you're going to sit back, right? Again, you don't want the heels out, you want the heels in toward each other. So you're going to sit like that for several breaths. and you're stretching out the plantar fascia on the bottom of your foot. Some people have bunions. This is where you get to combat the bunions a little bit mindfully. But if you let all of the weight of your body go down, even if you're spreading your toes, that's not going to help. You have to engage into the midline, squeeze everything together, and if you'll notice, that also helps you lift up a little bit out of your feet. So we're going to give it another 3 to 5 breaths here. Focus on your exhales, focus on that lift up and out of your toes so that it's not all down, down, down. Okay, bring your hands onto the ground, untuck your toes, tap the tops of your feet on the ground, and let's go. Crisscross applesauce. Okay, so most modified would be you have like a wall or something because you need to be up high. For instance, you cannot get much of an angle here at the hip past 90. You might need to be here with your head supported all the way up high. A wall or doorway will do. You'll breathe into the entirety of your spine, particularly across the low back. That will be the same for everybody. For people who can get beyond that initial acute angle, you have your block or your prop of choice out in front of you, and initially you'll hinge and you'll get nestled as far into the hinge as you can go, and then you'll round your spine on purpose. And now, supporting your head, you'll breathe into your whole back lengthwise and also breadthwise across your low back. You may wonder, how does one accomplish such things? Well, you may notice that the front of your body is being pressed on by your legs, or at least more so than usual by the front of your thighs. And that is going to displace your lungs ever so slightly up into your back, and also specifically in the low back, because that's where most of the compression is happening. So use that to your advantage to push your lungs up into your back on purpose, because the front of your lungs are being pressed on anyways. You're welcome to go down, all the way down to the ground, if your body will allow it. All that matters is that your head is supported. And we'll be here for about 3 more breaths. What this does, and you might feel a little bit in your hips or a lot in your hips, but that's not hitting your hamstrings. But what this is doing is it's getting your posterior chain minus the back of your legs here. So we're kind of taking that out of the equation a little bit. Come on up slowly. Okay. Let's go the opposite direction with the back, just a little bit. And I want you to focus that predominantly from, find your rib cage, the bottom of your rib cage. I want you to focus this from the bottom of your rib cage up rather than cranking into your low back. So you're going to take your arms out to the sides and then bend them up like a goalpost or a cactus. And then you're going to take your palms and rotate them to face each other. Thumbs back, pinky fingers forward. I can't see what that says, so I'm crawling forward. Cool. All right, exactly. So from here, let's go big round, like you've got a Swiss ball in front of you. You're gonna round forward with your spine on your exhale. And then on your inhale, you'll retract your shoulder blades, pull them together on your back, wrap the pinky fingers forward, tilt your whole fingertips backward and the bottom of your arms forward, and then exhale, round back into it. On your inhale, you'll open back up into your cactus, tilt the arms into external rotation, slide your sternum up, lift your chest up, look up a little, breathe in, and then exhale, round. And then last time through, same thing, all the way up. Tilt the bottom of your arms forward and your pinky fingers back. Slide your sternum up, lift your chest up, slide your chin back, lift your chin up, inhale. And exhale, whoo, shut it down. My muscles are tired. Okay, so let's do the back a little bit more and also the side, and then we'll go a little bit more into the hammies from there. So kick out a single leg for Janu Shirsasana, single-legged head to knee pose. All right, and so similar, if you need to retreat to a different prop, go for it. You also now have, your strappy-like object that you can use to bridge the gap between your hand and your foot if you cannot comfortably reach, right? So you want to create a little bit of an acute angle, a little bit more closed than 90, using your hamstrings on purpose, or lengthening your hamstrings on purpose, using your hip flexors on purpose to go forward. And then up. Now, I actually have a bendy strap, and I will tell you that this puts a little PNF into the equation, which can be a nice thing. But even if you just had a regular strap, or even if you just had your hand on your leg, going forward with a straight back and up, kind of like a good morning, is a nice way that you can actively stretch this, because sometimes passive stretching doesn't get you as far as active stretching, period. So give it another couple of moments. Can you do this with a rounded spine? Absolutely, you can do this with a rounded spine. So if you get far forward and you're like, damn, it's like so hard to hold this because I'm tired, I've been lifting all week, then you can grab a prop, stick it to the inside of the leg, and then create a scenario of support for your head, where you can round your head and support your spine, and that also works. What I want for the next couple of breaths for you all to focus on, regardless of whatever props or shapes you're making with the spine and how far forward you are, I want you to focus on this left side here. It kind of intrinsically wants to open left. I want you to close it down on purpose, wrap it down in line with the right side, so that you're focusing and getting a stretch not only in the back of the leg on the right side, but also in the quadratus lumborum, low back area on the left side. Come on up, leave your right hand on your right leg. Open your left arm up to the left. I want you to take the flat of your palm against the inside of your right leg. I want you to lead with the back of your left hand back with a nice spine, twist open, look back, look also back with your eyeballs on your inhale. On your exhale, wrap it forward, match hand to hand. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, round it forward, up and back, a couple more times, and forward. Last time up. This time, take your left hand to your left hip, drop your right ear to your right shoulder, and lean to the right until you get a stretch through your left side. This left hip, this left butt cheek will ever so slightly want to come up. It's an anchor point, so make sure it stays firmly grounded. Your head will want to be a little rounded forward, but that puts a weird curve in your spine, so lean your upper body back to make this purely lateral. Inhale up with both arms. Exhale, switch it out, other side. Left leg out, right leg in. You have your block. If you're rounding, you have a strap. If you can't touch your foot and you're staying with a straight spine. All right. Lift up, inhale, make sure this leg is tracking down even if it doesn't all the way touch the ground. Okay, and then you're noticing again here, this tendency of the right side to want to open up, which we of course can do, but we're not doing because we want to close it down to get that QL stretch. You can also think of, there's all kinds of, this one thing goes one direction, the other thing goes the opposite direction. All that's going on, right? So your head is orienting forward. You may be able to feel as you're rooting through this right side that your right side's going back as your head is going forward. You're at a little bit of a diagonal front to back, and that line of tension is something that you're breathing into to get the stretch in the back. The hamstring stretch happens from going forward, just period. If you're tight, right? Like right now, I'm not getting much out of my hamstrings, but I just came out of a yoga class. I have not stopped moving all day, so I'm just not tight right now. Okay, come on up in certain areas. Here we go with the left hand to the left leg anywhere, right? I've got it down at my calf, you can have it anywhere, it's fine. Push, and then with the back of the right hand, open, nice and tall. Your chin goes with, your eyeballs also go with. Try to look at your right thumb or even a little beyond it. Exhale, forward, match the hands. Inhale, open. Exhale, round in. Inhale, up. Exhale, in. Last time up. Right hand to your right hip. Drop your right ear down, your left ear down to your left shoulder. Keep that right hip as an anchor point. Your body will naturally take your weight to the left. So you have to re-weight down into your right hip. Your body will naturally be a little forward rounded. Lean back to bring your spine in a true lateral alignment. Inhale up. Okay, more hammies now. We're gonna go passive. You might even want more props than just the block for the next one, depending on how tight your hamstrings are, okay? So I've got the block, I've got these other things nearby. Almost anything will do for what you need, okay? The block, the more supportive prop is good for the head. Everything else could go under the knee. So what we're gonna do is go back to the V shape, lean to side number one. You're gonna take this leg, right, and hurdler stretch. So you do not have to have your toes pointed. You can have your ankle dorsiflexed. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? But then you're gonna have to play around with where your knee is in relation to this straight leg so that it's comfortable. All of my weight is down on this hip. I'm not weighting down on this side at all, okay? So from there, you lean it forward, and that's an immediate stretch in the back of the leg. Even for me, because different pieces of my hamstring are tight, even though overall it's not a super tight muscle for me. So I'm gonna create support for my head, and we're not gonna go active with this. We're gonna let it be passive. So I want you to support. However, for a lot of people, that this leg being straight is like, ain't happening, right? So this is where softer props can come in and you can support a bend in your right knee, all right? It can be straight over an object that's supporting it. If this is as straight as it goes, great, okay? And then you can still stack it up and fold forward over it, and you just chill. Let's say that's really not happening for you. Everybody else, if it's happening for you, you just go there. If it's really not happening for you, you take the front leg, bend the front leg into a workable bend. Don't even worry about it being straight at all, and then go forward over it, and that will put the stretch in the more lateral part of your hamstring, but it will still be a hamstring stretch. You gotta work with what you got, but then you go forward over it. Okay? So everybody's got something somewhere. Let's say you're farish forward over and you want more intensity, you just take this back knee and you start to open it up toward a split. This is like the most passive stretch work into the split that you can do pretty much. But we're just chilling. We're gonna even be here for another handful of minutes, handful of breaths. Because what you might begin to notice here is there's all this tension still in the back of your leg. And now I want you to ask yourself and ask your hamstring, look at your hamstring and point at it and say to your hamstring, why are you holding tension? You are fully supported by the ground. You don't have to do jack shit right now. So let it go. And then for the rest of the time that you're here, you focus on exhaling and just making small adjustments so that it's more comfortable until it becomes comfortable, mind over matter. Your exhales are what will do that. Lean into them. Don't try to force your leg to point straight up. If it wants to flop, let it flop. Three more breaths. Okay, come on up, and then same thing other side. Don't expect the same thing on the other side. Go into it fresh. Each side is a little different. All right, hurdler stretch, set up with a comfortable angle at the ankle and at the knee, all the way on the left side. Open or close the knee as much as you need to, and then start to lean it forward. Remember that you can always support under the hamstring, and if that's not working, you just bend the whole leg and then go forward and support your upper body as needed. And then you're breathing and you say to your hamstring, okay, Buster, why are you holding all this tension? Did you know that it's not adaptive to hold this much tension? This is the conversation, right? Another conversation you may be having with yourself is, holy shit, this sucks. It's really not comfortable. And what do you do in that scenario? You back it up. Sometimes you deal with the discomfort. Sometimes you have to back it up until it is tolerably comfortable so that you can relax. Because if you go too far and it is so uncomfortable that you're tensing up in secondary and tertiary muscles around the target muscle, then the target muscle is never going to relax. So there's no badge of honor that you win for being the most uncomfortable. And then on the flip side of that coin is to get further in your journey of opening up for yoga, discomfort is a very real component of the practice. So it is neither something to be, wear like a badge of honor, but it is also not something to be avoided. It is something to, it is just a fact that needs to be parsed for you as an individual. All right, come on up. Now we'll be more active because same logic as before. Sometimes passive just doesn't work for me nearly as well as active, and that's true of many, if not most people, for varying reasons. Okay, so now we're gonna set it up both legs. If you are one of those people that has a very hard time getting out of 90 degrees into an acute angle, what I want you to do is I want you to find a vertical surface, preferably that goes down to the low back. And this everybody can do this. It's totally good to do. It doesn't matter how tight or not tight you are. And you get your back up against the thing, all right? And then as you open up, scoot your butt back, and the scooting of the butt back ever so slightly pitches you forward. So for those people, they might need to build a support all the way up here and just breathe from there. As you get more open, other folks, you get more forward, you put your hands around your legs, you bring your ears in line with your shoulders, and you let the weight of your head and your upper body take you to where you're kind of like, gravity's not gonna just kind of take you. Then you put your hands on your legs, wherever it kind of completes the circuit. You think about it as an energy circuit. That might be at your ankles, it might be at your shins, it might be over the top of your feet. But then, if you'll notice, I'm demonstrating bad form here because I moved my hands into a deeper position, but then I didn't drop my ears back in line with my shoulders. Also, I didn't scoot my booty back against my backstop more, and that really makes a difference. So make sure that you get your ears down and that you scoot your hips back against your support, and then the process just continues over and over and over again. Let's say it is excruciating to have your legs straight at all. Same thing here. You can still be active and have a supported bend in your knees. And everything else will be true. All the other cues will still remain intact. So we're just gonna follow this now for another few breaths. You want to feel your hip flexors working. You want to be able to take slow, deep breaths that expand so far down into your lungs that your low back gets ballooned out on purpose. You want to linger in your exhales enough that your normal baseline of tension is disturbed so that gravity can take you a little bit further down on each breath out. On your exhales, you let gravity take a hold of your upper body more. Eventually, when you get your hands far enough around the bottom of your feet, your quads also kick on. Okay, slowly come on up, and the rest of this time is going to be on your back. So let's end it in Shavasana. If that is not comfortable for you and you want something with your knees up, you're welcome to go knees up. If you want to go legs up the wall, you're welcome to go legs up the wall. If there's any other shapes that you prefer other than laying on your back, perfect, go for it, do it, be my guest. Otherwise, lay down, slide your legs long, let the heavy bones in your hips be pulled down by gravity, let the heavy bones in your shoulders be pulled down by gravity. Go ahead and take your right hand underneath your armpit into the muscles in your back and slide those muscles down. And then do the same thing, left hand to right shoulder blade and ribs, slide it down, open your arms wide and take up a lot of space and let the muscles in your chest relax and stop guarding your heart. Let the muscles of your belly relax so that all of the good energy can flow all the way from your brain stem down into your guts and back and help transmit all of those good mood regulating neurochemicals. Linger in your exhales. Relish the stillness that comes at the end of your breath. Notice the quality of your breath improve as you recede from physical effort into the mere act of existing. And not just the mere act of existing, but the awesome, powerful, creative, beautiful, revolutionary act of existing consciously in an embodied state. As it feels good, if you're even so inclined to come up, then you can start bringing a little movement back into your body. But if you want to stay and slip into yoga nidra or meditation, please feel free to do so. We'll come up and out quietly so that if somebody does want to stay, they're welcome to. Thank you. We'll see you in the bed.